All right, everyone, I am going to share an absolutely incredible story of how I have overcome my mother's vow of poverty. Yes, my mother has taken a vow of poverty in her life, and it's something that is mortifying. It's very despairing for me to witness her in such struggle and hardship in her life. But it's not just my mother, it's both of my parents. My mother and my father both struggle desperately with just enough to live on. They're both very poor people, poor in the mindset, poor financially, and they trained me of how to be poor. They trained me to think like a poor person. They trained me to get poor results in my life, and I've overcome it. I've overcome it. So in this video, I am in service to share my story to help other people understand how there are vows of poverty, how our family lineage can be based in poverty consciousness and poverty thinking, and we don't have to settle. We can rise up out of the hand of cards that we were given at birth to create the life we really want. We can create the life of magic and abundance and wealth that we feel worthy of. And I'm going to share with you exactly how we do it and how I've done it by telling my story. Now, I've got 4 points that I'm going to go over here, okay, to help illustrate how I've done this process. Okay, here we go. I'm going to talk about 4 points. This is absolutely life-changing information, and I highly recommend you share this video and bookmark this video and take notes on this video, because if you're someone who is not in total wealth and abundance in your life, you're just struggling, you're just running the patterns that you were taught to run, and you can break free. And I'm going to talk about it right now. Let's get into it. Number one, my mother's vow of poverty was brutal. She is someone that truly hates money. She's afraid of money, and she has a very scarcity mindset. She trained me to think the same way, of course. I grew up listening to my mom's belief system. So, as a 2 year old, a 4 year old, a 6 year old, a 10 year old, I'm listening to my mom's poverty consciousness. Now, what's horrible, and I am embarrassed to admit this and say it out loud because it's so horrible, is that my mom is really in poverty. She's homeless right now. She's 74 years old right now today. 74-year-old woman living in her car. She lives in her car. She has no place to go. She has no home. She lives in her car. And I've tried to help her over the years. I've offered to help pay for an apartment. She refuses. She refuses my help. She refuses everyone's help. She lives like a homeless person because somehow she thinks that's doing spiritual work or something. Like it's more spiritual to abandon money. She thinks money is evil. She thinks money is bad, and she's afraid of money. And what's she going to do? She's going to live her whole life in her car. Well, these are the roots that I've come from. And guess what? My father's not much better. Like his wife currently pays his way. He doesn't make very much money now. He's 84. He has no retirement. He has no savings. He lives on his wife's money. He's an emasculated man, and somebody else has to take care of him and change his diapers and wipe his booty. You know what I mean? Like he's not even a man who can take care of himself. Horribly emasculated. He trained me to think like in poverty consciousness as well. So this was very hard. This created a lot of despair in my early 20s. You can imagine how hard life was. Coming up, no mentorship, no guidance, no leadership in my life from anyone around me. My mom or my dad never said you should do this, seek some sort of guidance or counseling or mentorship, like here's how to do this or that. They never gave me any guidance. Hands off, nothing, zero. Here, you're on your own, figure it out. So in my 20s, it was very, very hard. I was afraid of money. I was struggling desperately for a lot of decades of my life. And here's where I'm going to get into number two on my list, this point I need to make here about I started my first business. I started my first business because I had the call. I knew that I had something different. I had something to offer, and I couldn't see it reflected in my family or in my parents. So I had to just push. Starting my first business was the hardest, scariest, most brutal thing I've ever done. I'm telling you, it brought me right up against my trauma patterns. It brought me right up against my fear, my shadow, my existential crisis. Starting my first business was so insane. It was hard, everyone. Now, I talk about business a lot. People think, oh, Shane's good at business, or I have experience with business because I make YouTube videos about it. I talk about my experience with money. But my first business, I started at 35 years old. It took me to 35 years old. And partly because my wife at the time got pregnant and I had my first child coming, and I saw the crossroads. I saw the crossroads and I said, I'm either going to work crappy hourly jobs or I'm going to just figure out how to start my own business. And I knew I was capable of it. I'd just never done it before. And at the time when my first child was conceived, guess what? I was working for $10 an hour. That's how bad I was. At 35 years old, I was working for $10 an hour. So it was extremely scary. And I'll tell you, the first day I opened my clothing store, it was called Funk and Flash. It was a clothing store. I was so petrified. I was so scared. It was so terrifying. And I did it anyway. I borrowed a moving truck. I rented a moving truck because I had to move all this stuff into my place that I had rented. I had rented this place on Main Street in Sebastopol, California, and I was pulling the moving truck up and I ran into the car parked on the street and dented the front. I was so freaked out. I didn't even leave a note. And then I moved the truck and I pull around the corner. I catch the truck on the roof of the building and it ripped the whole side of the truck off. The moving truck, literally the whole side was ripped off. I couldn't focus. I was so scared because I was up against my existential fears. I was up against really deep rooted family lineage trauma. And that's what it feels like to face our traumas, everybody. Okay, it's the scariest thing you're ever going to do. Now, how many people actually go through that? How many people actually face their existential fears? Not many, but I did. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to create success and abundance in your life, you have to face that level of terror, that level of fear. You got to do it. You can create incredible wealth and abundance, okay? But you're going to have to face the scariest thing that makes your body pulsate with fear and terror. That's what it feels like to break free from family lineage trauma and patterning from your parents and from your lineage. It's no small thing, but you can do it, okay? It's terror in your body. Physically, you're going to tremble. You're physically going to sweat. You're physically going to like gulp. You're physically going to feel your heart come up into your esophagus. You're physically going to panic, okay? And that leads me to number 3. You got to align with your highest potential. And that's what I did. I aligned with my highest potential. Why? Because I had the calling. I don't know. I didn't want to be a loser my whole life. I didn't want to be a 35-year-old working for $10 an hour. So I said, I'm going to just do it. And I had to align with my highest potential. Now, my clothing store, Funk and Flash, was great and it got me along in those years, but I had the feeling I needed to align more. I needed to do something more powerful. And this is where I really felt like I needed to be a coach. I needed to be a spiritual coach. I wanted to help people become spiritually activated and walk that path of activation and alignment. I really felt called to that. I had no idea how to become a coach. And so I had to do it again. I sold my clothing stores. I went through a dark night of the soul. I let go of the branch before I grabbed onto a new branch. I went $200,000 in debt. I lost everything. I had to downsize into a tiny little apartment. My power got shut off at my house. My cars got repossessed. I was driving a horrible beater car. Horrible struggle because I was committed to getting into alignment and becoming a coach. This was back in 2017. And in the last 5 years, I've become a millionaire. I have become a millionaire. Not because I've focused on money, but because I've focused on alignment with my highest potential, because I've listened to the calling, because I decided to do my calling of being a spiritual coach. And I learned about coaching and I learned about how to do it and to be in alignment with my highest self, to listen to my calling. And guess what? It has made me a millionaire. The money has been the result of the alignment. I've never focused on money. I could care less about money. What I want is alignment. I want to live into my highest potential. I want to be the best version of myself. Gosh darn it. I do not want to be a lineage bearer. I don't want to take on my mother's vow of poverty. I don't want to be an emasculated man like my father. I changed my last name so I could get out of my family lineage. When I first had my first child, I changed my last name. I said, right here, it ends with me. I am not going to be a lineage bearer anymore. And that leads me to number 4 of my points here, is that mentorship set me free. I started working with a mentor. That's what I did. I started working with a mentor. That's all I needed. If I could have gone back and told my 20-year-old struggling, desperate, broke self anything, it would have been work with a mentor, work with somebody who has the results you want, work with somebody who's further along, work with somebody who's got the results you want, whether it's health, love, money, service work, whatever it is, you work with a mentor. I started working with a mentor and it changed my life. I saw how a successful person thought. I saw how somebody with money acted and behaved. And you know what? They were so service oriented. This is where I really decided to get out of my own way. I followed in my mentor's steps and now I offer mentorship. That's what I do. I've dedicated my life's work. So I have my Raw Vegan Heroes mentorship program where I help people go through detox transformation and eat raw food and get healthy and lose weight and become empowered physically and mentally and emotionally. My Raw Vegan Heroes community is amazing. We have over 5,000 people, and my Raw Vegan Heroes membership, generates probably $500,000 a year from that membership. It's an incredible community. It changes people's lives. Every day, people are telling me how much it's changed their life. But I also offer my highest level of mentorship, which is my business mastermind. My business mastermind is the mindset, the discipline, the structure, the way we get out of our complacency and facing our fears, moving through the lineage trauma, moving through that terror in our body to align with our vision of who we are supposed to be. And this is what I help people with. This is my highest level of service that I offer in this world. And it's called my business mastermind. It's my mentorship, paying it forward. You can mentor with me. You can learn how to go from poverty to becoming a millionaire. You can learn it because I've walked the path. I've done it in a very short period of time. I started my first business at 35 and I'm 52 now. So in just that amount of time, I've become a millionaire. I just started my coaching program, 5 years ago. So in just 5 years, I've become a millionaire. It's doable. So my business mastermind is one-on-one coaching with me. It's a group setting, okay? But you work with me on Zoom. Every Friday, we do a Zoom meeting. Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time. What I would recommend is that you get Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time off of work, off of your crappy job. You clear your calendar and you come on Zoom with me. And I will teach you the mindset, the discipline, and structure. I will give you homework. I'll give you next steps. I'll give you exactly what you need to do to go from where you are to where you want to be. I'll teach you the platform to use to become a coach. I'll teach you the platform to start your membership. I will teach you everything you need to know to be successful, get out of that poverty consciousness. Look, you can do it, but you can't do it without mentorship. You don't have to work with me, but you've got to work with somebody. If you like me, my communication style, if you like the results I've gotten, or you like my Raw Vegan Heroes membership, I am the perfect person for you to mentor with. Mentorship costs money. You don't get it for free. Yes, you've got to work with me, but investing in my business mastermind would be the cheapest possible investment for you to overcome your vow of poverty, to overcome your lineage trauma. And my business mastermind is $2,997 for 6 months. Okay, that's the best dollar you're ever going to spend. You need to beg, borrow, and steal to get into a mentorship program like that. It's the cheapest possible investment you could make for your future. And here's the thing, you need to spend money to prove to yourself that money's an illusion, that money can flow through you. So the key here is not to acquire money or to spend money. The key here is to flow, is to have a flow with money. So if you're someone who's broke, if you're someone who's struggled with money your whole life, I'm telling you the answer right now is money has to flow through you. So you have to learn how to spend money. Okay. The key to becoming a millionaire is learning how to spend money, because you can't just accumulate money. If you hoard money, money stops. The energy of money stops. Money is just an energy. It's an exchange of value. And so you can't accumulate money. You have to have flow. And the more money you spend, the more money you will make. Okay. That's why you need to spend money on mentorship. Okay. So like I said, it doesn't have to be me, but it has to be somebody. So that's my advice to you. Also, every weekly Zoom meeting that I do is recorded, okay? And it's uploaded to a replay library. When you join my business mastermind, you get instant access to the Zoom replays. Everything you've ever needed to know about how to get out of poverty, how to start a successful business, and just be the best version of yourself is already recorded. It's worth the price just for the Zoom replay library alone. I'm telling you, like you could spend the $3,000 and just watch those Zoom replays. It's going to change your life. If you just got one nugget of wisdom that tweaked the trajectory of your life, it would be worth the investment. If you just got one nugget of wisdom out of a whole 6 months, you wouldn't even have to talk to me. Just watch those replays. It would be worth it. It's the highest ROI you're ever going to get in your life. And that's my prayer to you. Join us in my business mastermind. We've got 150 members right now. It's a small and powerful, intimate group of entrepreneurs all coming together to become the best version of themselves. And again, like I said, my business mastermind is the highest level of service and empowerment and mindset and leadership training and responsibility that I feel for this earth. It's my highest level of service that I provide. If you want to be close to me, if you want to learn how I think, if you want to learn how I got the results, if you want to learn how I became a millionaire, if you want to learn more about vows of poverty and how to overcome that, or how to help our parents, or how to break free, join my business mastermind. The link is below in the description. You can also find it in the comments. And that's my prayer for you. Okay. I hope this message was helpful today. I'm a truth seeker. Okay. I'm a truth teller, and I'm going to face the truth no matter how brutally hard it is. And I'm going to also face my fears no matter how brutally hard it is. And that's what I've done. And that's who I am. And that's what I like. It's not easy, but it's gotten me the results that I've gotten, and it will for you too. Okay. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Bye bye.